we are closing in for the Fed rate hike. So next 24 hours is going to be extremely important for all type of markets. Right now you are getting the earnings from the big tech stocks, and this is how it actually goes. For Google or Alphabet, this is what you can see. Okay, they were expecting 1.29, but it's only 1.21. So this is EPS, earnings per share. So that's down 6%. And the revenue is down just 0.16%. So I wouldn't say that's actually too bad. But if you are considering what happened last time, the revenue wasn't positive, right? Now that actually brings some change, but it doesn't actually show you a massive change like they are rolling back. But one thing here is for sure, if you are looking at the trend, that is concerning. Meaning here was 20.44, so their revenue was 2.9% higher than expected, but then it started reducing. But you need to keep in mind, the reported was 65 billion. After that, the next one reported was 75 billion. Fine, so there was a substantial increase there. And then it reduced to 68, after which it again changed. So right now, even though we came a little bit lower than the expected, we are still better than the last quarter. Yes, we are watching a trend where the profits are slowly reducing. Now, you know what's happening in the market. So the entire market is going down. Your profit will be going down. Now, Alphabet, right? They do have investment business, but especially they are search engine. So it's like the ads mainly. So that is going down. But when you are in this market, you need to look at, like, the market shows you a lot of different stuff. You are inside this market, you're fine, the price is holding. Now, what you need to understand is this literally is going on. So if you are not prepared for this, it's going to be really bad. You can try trading short term, long term, whatever you want, but the moment you understand this, you put a trade in your exchange, and remember, if they are going to put a trade against you, that's going to be really, really, really hard. So you need to look at all these macro indicators before you go in there. Now, there's one of the tweet from CC Binance, which I really like to highlight here, which indicates like, okay, this is not a financial advice, but I feel that was a buy the dip moment which we were getting in the market, right? So let's actually see how this is evolving right now. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. If we are looking at the volume, yes, the volume is down, but it's better. Compared to last day, it is better. And right now we are looking at the price action saying, okay, XRP is still here. It is not doing much. The RSI and MACD is slowly turning positive here. Usually when you cross to the upside, you get some movement to the upside. In the bear market, in the corrective session, it's like this. A little bit move. You move from 0.56 to 0.9. Now, even that kind of a move right now to 0.6 is a relief for a lot of us. Fine. But what we are looking at here is the long-term range. If you actually take these out and look at the long-term range of support, that's where we are. We went above, we came lower, we hit and bounced. We are coming back there. Now we need to see what is going to happen. So right now, yes, we are there at that long-term trend line support. If you look at the dotted line here, you can see the previous resistance is kind of acting as a support right now. So 0.3 to 0.33 should hold and bounce. That's what we expect the price to do. Why? The general market, yes, people do suggest we are in a bear market, but if you consider this, the RSI on a weekly is dipping here. Fine. And you got the dip inside this correction. Fine. Same, you are getting something similar here. And at the time, your MACD is not widening to the downside. It's rather trying to close. Usually, whenever that closes back up, there is a movement of price to the upside. Now, that can be to 30,000. And if we fail 30,000, yes, we are moving down. But most likely, we are looking at it, right? So once you zoom in, you're like, okay, the RSI right now is entering the support level. So you need to see the price bouncing from here. If not, you're coming back down to 18K. But most likely, 20 would hold and bounce. One of the main reason for that is the entire market itself. See, you go look at the general market and you're like, okay, it's not too much off from where they are expecting their revenue to be, like just below a percentage. Now, yes, earnings per share is down for Microsoft. Then you compare that with Google. Then you compare that with Tesla. Tesla is doing fine, actually. Tesla is doing much fine. If you're looking at this in Tesla, it's like, okay, the earnings per share is like 26% higher. So you can kind of see a mixed reality coming in. But right now, what we have to understand is last quarter GDP was negative, and this one coming in will be most likely negative. And if it is a recession. It doesn't actually matter whether your definition for recession matches with this. Historically, we have been reading this book after book, report after report, journal after journal. If you are trying to still learn from the market, then yeah, that's your definition. So one of the most important stuff in next 24 hours is this. If Fed is going to go for 125, that's going to surprise the market. And I think the market is going to say, like, the worst is over. But keep in mind, if they push 125 basis points, people who already cannot afford to live with the current mortgage rate, with the current inflation, they're in trouble. That means we are going to get pain coming in next 2-3 months. But right now, the market may feel that the worst is over. So reality, people's life will be miserable, but the market will be going up. Last time we saw this, people's life is so miserable, but the stock market was going up, right? It doesn't make any sense in reality, but that is happening. We all know that. Right now, shout out to Stefan for actually putting this one out, and it's getting attention. That's why I actually chose this instead of just coming in here. We need to see, like, okay, what really is happening here, right? Are they moving out just for namesake, or is there some issues within themselves and they are moving out? All of that is going to come into play. Now, I'm showing you this because here we have the name Ripple and Stellar. So shout out to Wrath of Kenman for highlighting this one, and we've been highlighting this for a very long time. You go to HSBC report, you go to WEF report, you go to most of these guys who have studied the distributed ledger technology to use for payments. They already put this name there. We went through that. And right now, that side is also positive. Total payments up. Total accounts up. So that is not a dead project. And it's still being highlighted. But the difference is, compared to Ripple, yeah, this is much smaller. And Ripple is going to go much bigger because of its target market and the structure of the network which is being built. Fine. Now you're looking at all these adoption news and you're like, okay, what really is happening? We see adoption, but we are not actually watching the prices go up. This is one of the main reasons. You look at how the prices are going up. This is something which everyone is getting impacted on. And this is heavily subsidized. So what does that mean? Your government is putting more money there, trying to help you out, meaning they are printing more money, which is automatically increasing the supply of your currency or debasing your currency. So automatically on the all the other front, you lose. So right now, this is reaching a point where this is so bad. It doesn't actually feel really good to be alive right now if you are in that position where you can't do anything. But right now, if you can take some actions so that your future in next 3 years, next 5 years is going to be beautiful, this is one of the greatest time to be alive in the markets. If you see this as an opportunity instead of looking at it as a chaos. So it's completely up to you. Fine. Now this one from Junklink really makes sense. So shout out to him. This actually shows like, okay, the SEC Commissioner Jackson highlighting Ripple's the one of the good guys. We all know that for payments, but we don't really know what's going to be for the future with RippleNet in 5 years' time or 10 years' time. If we are going to go into complete control, we don't know. Let's, for the time being, keep that aside and look at what's happening right now. Because in front of us, what we are watching Is the company expanding even with SEC case going on? Now, it's not in US, it's outside US, but that kind of validates like those people don't care much about SEC, or they see this as an opportunity because they are entering into this and they are using the technology to the fullest for cross-border payments. So as they use this, one of the easiest stuff to say there is like they won't announce something to us, but when they go in partner, now the other guys know something which we don't. So if you say like, okay, these companies, why are they partnering with this institution? Or they know something which we don't. That's why they are joining forces, because they have benefits. So if you are in this asset class, understanding this can turn upside down quickly, then you are in the right place. You are looking for the right stuff. But in the market, yes, you do see fluctuations. Ether kind of went up. It broke above the moving average, but got resisted with this trend line resistance. Now you're coming back to test the moving average on a 3-day. So you need to see like whether the 21-day moving average holds or not. If it holds, that's a bullish news, because that's usually kind of the trend indicator. If it bounces from there, that's beautiful. You need to now break this resistance. Otherwise, you're coming all the way back down to 1,200. But I don't think we're going to go back to 800 at this time. But if the Fed goes nuts, then possibilities are still there. So all of that would be most likely dependent on the next 24 hours where we get all this information, and the macro scenario either goes this way, down the drains, or it starts to grind. So if it is the positive side, which most likely will be, looking at all of these, not just saying, CC is one of the best indicators for the market, but you kind of have to respect this guy. The market is going down the drains. He's building. He's putting his money in and building for next 2 years, next 3 years, next 5 years. That makes a lot of sense as a leader, right? So there is he tweeted this. There's a time to follow and there's a time to lead. And when he is leading, it kind of makes sense whether you like Binance, whether you like BNB or not. It does seem legit. Now, one of the main stuff which we all have to focus on is the altcoin market. The altcoin market is still inside the same pattern. The indicators are still there. You do see a lot of volatility, but that's on a shorter time span. On your longer horizon, you are not breaking the previous trend line, which we know is still standing through this. So that's bullish. Now, what we want to see here is the price here coming up to test the moving average and breaking that. Would be one of the bullish scenario which we all want to watch, but we will have to wait. Next 24 hours will give us that idea whether we are directly going up or we are going to come back test this lows. So keep your eyes close to the market. If you are in short trades, understand that it's not only the market who's going to go against you if something macro goes bad, but it's also your exchange which can actually kick you out. So if it's a asset which you're buying and selling without leverage, that's completely okay. No one can kick you out. That's one of the good stuff. You don't have that tight stop loss. You don't have that tight margin for thought process. Like, okay, I'm buying here, I'm selling here. If this goes low, I'm out. No, usually that doesn't work like that. If you have time, time is your friend. If you're trying to time the market, you can learn this from a lot of books, a lot of big investors who are successful doing this last 10, 20, 30 years, saying trying to time the market is much hard and risky. And if you want to balance that risk, try to put more time in the market, not trying to time the market. So guys, if you are receiving value for your time, please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done that already. And if you want these kind of updates for your price, your assets, different way, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. Bye-bye.